Hello and welcome to World Talks here on TVP World. I'm Marie Cato. Today marks exactly 4 years since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. While the front lines remain a grueling war of attrition, recent gains in the south have offered a surge of momentum, with Ukrainian forces recapturing over 400 square kilometers since January. Joining us to break down the current military map and the growing role of international volunteers is Rostyslav Khotin, senior editor at RFE, RL's Ukrainian Service. Rostyslav, thank you very much for joining us on this significant anniversary.
Hello, thank you for inviting me.
So let's begin with the fact that 4 years ago, Vladimir Putin actually said that he was going to take Kiev over in exactly 3 days. This is what Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky reminded us of this morning. So tell us about the significance of that statement and, more importantly, of Ukraine's resistance.
Indeed, Russians plan to take Kyiv over 3 days at the initial stage of the war. Russian military servicemen even had parade uniform for parade in Kyiv on Khreshchatyk Street in downtown Kyiv. Then 3 days became 2 weeks, and they remarkably failed. Now we have 4 years of full-scale war, and Russia is still not in Kyiv. Not a single, they were unable to take not a single Ukrainian regional center apart from Donetsk and Luhansk, which they took with the help of local separatist militia in 2014. And Kherson was liberated, regional center in the south of Ukraine was liberated by Ukrainian troops in November 2022. Ukraine remarkably over the 4 years won remarkable battles, epic battles, Battle of Kyiv, Battle of Kharkiv, and Battle of Kherson. With the current pace of Russian advances, they are very, very slow, no strategic gains. With the current pace of Russian advances, Russia will be able to take the whole of Donetsk region within 5 years. They need 5 years more to take the whole of Donetsk region. Now they control about 70–75% of Donetsk region and insist on Ukrainian troops to leave the whole Donetsk region, the whole Donbass area in eastern Ukraine. With the current pace of Russian advances, Russia will need 1 century to take the whole Ukraine, the whole territory of Ukraine. So Ukraine has preserved its independence, its statehood. That's the main achievement. And Russia was not able to break the spirit of Ukrainian resistance, despite constantly bombarding Ukrainian civilian apartments block, hospitals, schools, and so on and so forth. In the harsh weather, especially now with constant blackouts, the lack of electricity and heat, Russia wanted to break the spirit of Ukrainian nation, and Russia has remarkably failed. Over the last 4 years, Ukraine was able to destroy one third of Russian Black Sea Fleet, and forced Russian Black Sea Fleet to relocate from Sevastopol in occupied Crimea to Novorossiysk on Russian Black Sea shore.
Now, I just wanted to fast forward to today and actually the recent developments, the recent gains that have been made, the latest tactical breakthroughs for Ukraine. What is the significance of this, and what does it tell us about the recent momentum?
When we hear the daily updates about military situation on the battlefield, we have to remember the recent words of Commander of Ukrainian Armed Forces, General Alexander Syrsky. He said 1/4, 25% of all military action now, which is combat action which is happening on the battlefields, is Ukrainian advances. It's Ukrainian counteroffensive. Quietly, slowly, but Ukrainians were able to liberate area like 20 kilometers by 20 kilometers, 400 square kilometers in Zaporizhia, in the south, in Zaporizhia region. Russia was near capturing, was about to capture Gulay Pole in Zaporizhia region, very important town from strategic and historical perspective, but they were unable. Ukrainians pushed them back. Also in eastern Ukraine, Russia is not making strategic advances. It's just very tactical. On maximum, on a daily basis, Russians are advancing with a speed of 15 meters or 70 meters per day. It's nothing. It's almost nothing. With such losses, just want to remind you, according to Western estimates, Russia has lost 325,000 soldiers, like it's fatalities, it's killed soldiers in this war. With wounded and missing, it's 1.2 million people. It's 20 Afghanistans. For Mikhail Gorbachev, 15,000 killed in Afghanistan was enough to withdraw troops from Afghanistan, Soviet troops. Now for Putin, more than 20 Afghanistans are not enough.
I just wanted to jump in there, and I wanted to move on to the Russian Oreshnik missile system that President Zelensky has said in recent days is partly deployed in Belarus, and that it should be considered a legitimate target for NATO. Now, how significant is the Belarus factor militarily at this stage? Is it a real threat, or is it a strategic pressure tactic? And also, how does NATO perceive what President Zelensky has said regarding this?
Belarus, at the initial stage of the war, was cooperating with Russia. Lukashenko didn't send troops to Ukraine, of course, but he provided the territory for Russian attack, for Russian advance on Kyiv from the north. When Russians invaded Chernobyl zone around the ruined power plant, nuclear station, it was from Belarus. They advanced from Belarus. Belarus provided them Russian territory for drone strikes against Ukraine. So Belarus was complicit in the Russian aggression against Ukraine. But Lukashenko was clear enough not to send his troops to Ukraine to fight, because Belarusian society would not forgive him such fatalities. But now he is like a puppet of the Kremlin. Lukashenko is a junior partner in this alliance with Putin. And now apparently Russia has deployed Oreshnik missiles to Belarus. It's not against Ukraine to threaten Ukraine, because Oreshnik is a ballistic missile. It does not have enough territory to fly over to hit Ukraine. But it's a threatening factor to the West, for the West, and to NATO. Russia wants to play Belarusian card against the West. And Russian propagandists like to draw kind of diagrams. Our missile has a radius of such and so kilometers and so on and so forth. Is a threatening factor to NATO, because Oreshnik is a very powerful missile. It flies with a speed of 13,000 kilometers per hour. It's like enormous speed. It's difficult to detect, it's difficult to intercept. So Russia uses Belarus and the deployment of Oreshnik missiles in Belarus as a factor to pressure NATO in order to discourage West from supporting Ukraine in this war.
Now, I wanted to ask about this uptick of energy terrorism, because it's very hard to describe it in any other way. Obviously, it impacts civilians in a horrific way. How do you see the coming year, 2026, obviously starting now the 5th year of this war? How do you see the coming year progress in terms of Ukraine fighting Russia, the impact it has on civilians? How do you see the coming year and the help that you need from the West? Just very briefly as we wrap up.
Yeah, first of all, Russia has already started preparation for summer offensive campaign. They will concentrate on Donetsk region and Zaporizhia, but I think they won't be successful. As for Ukrainians, bitter winter, harsh winter is over almost. It's spring is in the air, and I can't agree more with Ukrainian Security Service, who recently described Russian attacks against Ukrainian energy infrastructure with constant blackouts, lack of heat, water and electricity as genocidal policy against Ukrainian people.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us on this special day. Rostyslav Khotin, Senior Editor at RFE-RL's Ukrainian Service. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's it for World Talks this time. Thank you so much for joining us, and make sure that you stay updated with TVP World. Goodbye.